From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Bozeman public school students are slated to head back to school in weeks to come. I'm Gabby Crevitt, and coming up we'll let you know how administrators are preparing.
Judge Amy Coney Barrett will be back on Capitol Hill today after a marathon questioning session by senators yesterday. I'm Laura Podesta with details on what she said or didn't say, depending on who you ask.
Well, good morning, Southwest Montana. It is 4:30 on
already
this Wednesday. I forgot
happen?
what day it was there for a second. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here. Wow, that wind yesterday, really nice.
Yeah.
I no longer have a patio awning. I do. It's in pieces in the backyard, as I understand it. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Well, I saw all the toys that my kids didn't pick up that they said that they did. Oh no, we picked that up. Really? There it goes.
Yeah, that.
All right. Temperatures this morning a little warmer, I guess, 30s and 40s, but it feels much cooler with the wind that's out there. Wind gusts still in that 15 to 20, even 30 mile an hour range for a number of areas. Wise River, 35 mile an hour wind gusts this morning, so it's still quite windy despite the fact that we don't have any sun. A couple of spotty showers out there. Remember, when we're in this time of year, we don't get a lot of low-level coverage. I don't think that we're going to see a ton of moisture today. Farther south you go, the drier things will be. You look at our Bozeman planner, it looks like our daytime high should top out into the upper 40s to low 50s, both east and west of the divide. It's going to be a rough day, especially with the wind. We do see a little reprieve. Yeah, well, we'll talk more about how much of a reprieve we'll see coming up in a few minutes.
Fair enough, Matt. Thank you. 4:31 now. In just 24 hours, Montana has registered 11 new coronavirus deaths. In total, that means 230 people have passed away in the state due to the virus. There are 520 new cases reported statewide yesterday. Yellowstone County once again tops the state report with new COVID-19 cases and the most active in the state by far. Health officials there have put in new restrictions to try to slow the spread. Flathead County also voting on additional restrictions for restaurants, churches, and bars. The Gallatin City County Health Department reporting 41 new confirmed cases yesterday, 228 still considered active in Gallatin County. 5 people are in the hospital with COVID infections. Well, Montana Governor Steve Bullock says he wants to see Montana counties emphasize compliance with local health department orders to address the growing number of COVID-19 cases. Governor Bullock says counties that enforce health orders against, as he put it, egregious bad actors creates a deterrent.
I think we can only be successful in beating this virus if we all work together as a team. And our local public health officers certainly need all of us to be on a team right now. Now more than ever, we need to roll up our sleeves, get our hands around this virus.
State health leaders said there has been a number of documented COVID-19 cases that trace back to events where people were not following health department guidance. Well, beginning as soon as next month, Bozeman students will be returning to full in-time person classes. MTN's Gabby Crevitt lets us know how school administrators are preparing.
Families in the Bozeman School District who have opted for more in-person learning may see their students heading back to school full-time in the next few weeks. But Bozeman Public School administrators say there's still lots of preparing for the transition. At the school board meeting Monday night, trustees finalized target dates for Bozeman students to begin transitioning from the blended model to more in-person learning. Pre-K through 5th grade students are slated to return back for more in-person learning instruction on November 2nd, middle school students November 23rd, and January 26th for high school students. This is the tentative plan, so long as the governor and local health department keep the schools open, and there must be enough adult staff capacity.
Do we have enough people to teach the classes or have para support? Do we have enough people to contact trace? Do we have enough hospital beds available?
Superintendent Connor says there's a lot that goes into that staff capacity requirement, but he says ultimately that's for the better of individual schools.
What this really allows us to do is become more myopic, and we can look at school decisions as opposed to the district as a whole decision.
As for the transition from the blended model to more in-person learning, Connors says they'll take their existing safety and health protocols and adjust them to reflect the additional days back in school.
It's going to be a massaging of that document because we are dealing only with half the kids right now. Within the next couple of weeks here, we'll look at, okay, here's what we need to do. We'll fail forward in those first couple of weeks with our pre-K 5, and hopefully we'll have it nailed a little bit better when we get in as we move further down the road.
Reporting in Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
4:35 now. Montana sports fans, winter sports fans, I should say, in Montana will have to wait a few extra weeks for that to get rolling. Montana High School Association Executive Board says it will delay the start of winter sports, both practices and competition, in hopes of flattening the curve during this continued COVID-19 pandemic. MHSA Executive Board approved the motion of winter sports practices in basketball, swimming, and wrestling to begin December 7th, with competitions delayed until the first week of January. Basketball practices were originally scheduled to begin on November 19th. On the national scene now at 4:35, Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett faced questions by senators for nearly 12 hours yesterday. She'll be back on Capitol Hill for a shorter but lengthy session as she moves through the confirmation process. Meanwhile, President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden remain on the campaign trail, hoping to shore up support in swing states. CBS's Laura Podesta is on Capitol Hill with more.
Like previous Supreme Court nominees, Amy Coney Barrett tried to avoid taking a stance on key issues during her confirmation hearing.
It's not something really that's appropriate for me to comment on. I've never expressed a view on it. I can't answer questions like that.
What answers she did give on Obamacare.
I'm not here on a mission to destroy the Affordable Care Act.
And Roe versus Wade.
I can't pre-commit or say, yes, I'm going in with some agenda, because I'm not.
Did not always sit well with Democrats.
It's distressing not to get a straight answer.
Barrett tried to convince them she'll be an impartial justice.
Judges can't just wake up one day and say, I have an agenda, I like guns, I hate guns, I like abortion, I hate abortion, and walk in like a royal queen and impose, their will on the world.
Nominated by President Trump, Barrett would not commit to recusing herself if the Supreme Court has to rule on a case involving the election. She said she would consult with the other justices about what to do. Campaigning in Pennsylvania, President Trump said his nominee will stop what he believes is a radical agenda by Democrats.
To defend our Constitution from this madness, I proudly nominated Judge Amy Coney Barrett.
Joe Biden told supporters in Florida Republicans are rushing the process for one reason.
It's about wiping out the Affordable Care Act, to wipe it off the books.
Barrett faces another round of questions from senators today. Laura Podesta, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, Republicans are likely to confirm Barrett to the Supreme Court just days before the election, so we're going to continue to follow that one. Meantime, 4:37, man, I have some great video for you. This is one of those things that I know that you've covered in the past as tornadoes.
Yeah.
And I know that meteorologists in those areas, that was your job, is to notify people that there were potentials for those kind of things. Mm-hmm. That did happen. This is Henderson, North Carolina. Take a look at this. This family was told that there was a possibility of some tornadoes in that area, but they didn't know exactly what area it was they were driving through. The family literally, as you can see, gets caught in that. Fortunately, not injured. It did do some damage in that area. This is, they were traveling back from Jacksonville, North Carolina. The Sunday family, that's who they were. Kids in the car, everybody was there. You can see
how scary, though.
I can't even imagine how terrifying that must be.
And, that's why we talk about, pay attention to your forecast. When I was working in the Midwest, I mean, you just had to be on top of it and always have a plan. And this time of year, tornadoes like that are not common. No, that just phenomenal stuff there. And the husband had her roll that video that you saw. There was a reason. He goes, in case something happened to us, he wanted to be able to see this is what went on. Yeah. Little damage to their pickup and a great story to tell. The kids were like, wow, that's crazy stuff. This is, I'm sure. I'm glad they're okay. I'm glad they are okay too. 4:39, we're going to take a break here. When we come back, convergence of flu season and the pandemic spawning a new name, I should say, the Twindemic. After the break, learn why hospitals are worried and what experts say we need to do to avoid the worst. And then, Cancer Support Community Gala coming up tomorrow online. We'll have more on that as well. But first, Matt, how's the look out there? Right looking at the rain planner, the chances of rain are not all that great, but the chances of wind, ooh, it'll blow you away. We'll talk more about your forecast, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with meteorologist Matt Elwell.
We've hit 442 on this Wednesday morning. That's to you, Chet. It is Wednesday. Yeah, feels like it a little bit. High wind warnings out. We're still dealing with some gusty winds in a few areas. West winds between 35 and 45 miles an hour with gusts near 70. It does include Gallatin, Madison, Beaverhead County, Broadwater County, Jefferson County. So there are a lot of areas in southwest Montana dealing with wind chances up near 45 to 50 miles an hour throughout the day. A couple of areas could approach the 70-mile-an-hour range. I don't think the wind speeds are going to stick around a terribly long time. You get into the evening, we still have some windy conditions, but it should let up as you head toward tomorrow morning and stay that way until Friday. Look at Friday's winds, though, once again, right back in that same realm, so we are not done as of yet. Here's the look outside. Bozeman ICAM this morning. Temperature a little warmer this morning. 40 degrees, but the wind chill definitely, you can feel it. Feels like it's in the 20s and 30s for most of the area for the early part of the morning. The wind speeds aren't quite as strong right now as they were yesterday afternoon, but we're still dealing with gusty winds throughout the day. Spotty showers are possible, very light chances. We may just kind of pass through briefly and then clear things out as you head into the afternoon. It's interesting, we're more in a zonal flow. When we talk about zonal flow, we're talking very quick moving systems. So while we may have a reprieve on Thursday afternoon with the wind, by Friday we're talking more wind but warmer temperatures. Then we're talking another chance of snow trying to move into the mountains of western and southwestern Montana as you head into your Saturday. It looks like we're going to see spotty snow showers overnight. Not a whole lot of accumulation, but definitely something that may impact some of those areas. Maybe some hunters heading out. That may be more of an issue, making it fairly raw out there. Temperatures into the 40s and 50s today. Spotty showers. The wind continues. We could see wind speeds in that 40 to 50 mile an hour range through the early afternoon. The late afternoon, the wind speed's expected to die off a little bit, and definitely by the overnight, early tomorrow morning, the wind speed's letting up across the area. The warmest temperature that we have on the extended coming on Friday, and then another batch of cool showers on Saturday and Sunday. Shouldn't be widespread, but definitely going to cool things down. Look at those overnight lows into the teens and 20s in some cases. We'll, of course, talk more about your hour-by-hour forecast and school day forecast in just a couple of minutes.
All right, thank you, Matt. 4:44 now. October is the month when flu cases across the country usually begin their uptick, and this flu season could be worse than usual. As Maya Rodriguez reports, health officials will be tracking not just flu cases, but also coronavirus, and hoping the country can avoid a so-called twindemic.
It's a convergence of two health crises, the ongoing coronavirus pandemic and a brand new flu season now underway.
There's not much flu in the northern hemisphere in the summer, but there is a lot in the southern hemisphere.
Dr. Amish Adalja of Johns Hopkins says healthcare professionals have observed the flu in places like Australia and New Zealand during the past several months, offering clues into what we might expect here as our weather gets colder.
The southern hemisphere has had a remarkable flu season, mostly because it's 99% lower than what they've seen in prior years. This has to do with the fact that the social distancing that people are doing for COVID-19 also has an impact on influenza because they're both spread in the same manner.
But the U.S. has failed to control the spread of the coronavirus, leading to fears that the country might be facing a twindemic where COVID-19 and the flu collide. The one silver lining: less international travel around the world may make it harder for the flu to spread globally like it has in years past.
The point we have to continue to emphasize is we don't know for sure if we'll have a light flu season, and we have to prepare for one that's severe.
So far, the coronavirus has killed more than 210,000 people in the U.S. That's more than the previous 5 flu seasons combined. Still, any uptick in hospitalizations because of the flu could further strain hospitals already dealing with COVID-19. One region of concern, the upper Midwest, in places like Wisconsin, a coronavirus hotspot.
It is stretching our hospital capacity, and it is overwhelming our public health infrastructure.
One step that could help, ensuring everyone gets a flu shot, even if it doesn't end up being a perfect match to this year's strain.
Even if it isn't a complete match and it doesn't prevent you from getting the flu, it still will prevent you from dying from influenza, getting hospitalized with influenza, getting complications from influenza.
One of the few tools available in a time of great uncertainty. In Washington, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
4:47 now. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. The cancer support community of Montana's big gala a little different this year. We'll give you a preview to tomorrow's event.